It is now time for our Master Board open session meeting. Here now is our Board President, Bob Walter.
Afternoon. Welcome to the July open board session. Would everybody please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next we have the
executive session report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ooh, all right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and give the executive session action report for the month of July. This report will give the community an update on actions that were taken by the board at their executive sessions on July 10th and July 24th, at which time litigation, member discipline, formation of contracts, and personnel matters were discussed. With member matters, the board reviewed 6 member requests for a fee waiver. The board reviewed 3 requests for a parking variance. The board approved the F&B and golf receivables as of June 30th, 2024, as well as the assessment account receivables as of June 30th, 2024. The board approved the delinquency report. The board reviewed 5 show cause hearings. The board discussed items from the Marketing and Restaurant and Lounge Committee. The board reviewed 2 requests for a payment plan, and the board reviewed and discussed directives to the Technology Review Ad Hoc Committee. With legal, the board approved the executive session minutes from May 16th, June 26th, and July 1st, 2024. The board received several updates from legal. The board approved to continue with the foreclosure on 2 properties, and the board approved to send the following account to the collections attorney to foreclose on the lien and record the notice of default. And that is APN 440-270-028. Formation of contracts, the board received updates from the management company on several items. The board met and discussed third-party contracts. The board discussed the progress on the creation of the F&B RFP. The board received and filed an investment activity report. The board received and filed the project activity report. The board reviewed and approved 2 P-card transactions from the executive general manager. The board reviewed and approved the June to July narrative and analytic report from Securitas, and these will be online. The board met and received updates on the lounge expansion. The board reviewed the governance policy manual from Sequoia Grove Consulting. The board tabled and approved the Asset Advisory Committee. The board approved to replace the 2 kilns in the arts and crafts room. The board reviewed the investment policy. The board approved to reinstate the mandatory service charge of 18% on all F&B tickets, and this will start August 1st. And this came after the state changed its ruling. The board approved to have FSR hire a part-time pool monitor for the main clubhouse pool and then have them assist with rec and maintenance when pool season is over. And finally, the board approved a one-time cleanup on the front yard of a few vacant properties. And that completes the report and executive session actions.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I could have the floor regarding the executive session items, please.
You got it.
Okay. Chapter 6, Article 2 of Davis Sterling requires that all matters covered in executive session to be generally discussed at the next regular board meeting. As board secretary, I'd like to add several items in addition to Jason's comments made, which were very good. We also discussed the Sequoia Grove Consulting proposed changes to the committee structure of the Finance Committee and the Procurement Committee. We discussed potential cost-cutting and revenue increasing ideas, which committee chairs are aware of. We discussed the 2025 budget preparation. We discussed the development of a detailed lounge expansion schedule. Construction is proceeding on time to vendor schedule with construction planned to complete on October 11th. We discussed and reviewed the revised 2024 Restaurant and Lounge financial sales and cost forecast from FSR, and a copy has been available. We discussed a board member's actions taken in the last open session and reviewed a committee letter recommending a reprimand be issued, and we discussed cable TV negotiations being made by FSR. Thank you.
Next is the general manager's report.
I was actually going to have Don do that for me, but that's okay. I'm here on time. Remember to set your clocks correctly on time. That helps. And also, if you get caught talking to a member, I do apologize. Let's begin. Jason, we have the PowerPoint up and running, and I also have that for you. Okay, as a reminder, and I talked about this at the delegates, let's go to the items, Jay. We have very small print again. This is for your eye exams. If you can pass this, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to wear glasses. But as a reminder, as I talked about with the delegate assembly, we've experienced problems at the main pool. Again, the main clubhouse pool, no alcohol is allowed. At all pools, no glass is allowed. And so we've had some issues in the past with monitors. The board, to address that, has increased the monitoring of the pools from 11 to 5, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We also have under the Recreation Department, Linda and Jason, a temp in there. We've moved away from Community Patrol being there. This last week, it appears that it went very well. I was here on Saturday to check to make sure the monitor was here, was dressed had a Sun Lake shirt to identify them, and understood what needed to be done. Jason has also been coaching them. So we hope to see some improvement with the behavior at the main clubhouse pool. Age verification is proceeding. So as of today, the response rate right now is 72%. We only need 80. Now this is July. Usually in October, I'm begging members to complete that. So again, I have to thank the members that have completed their report, their age verification, the delegates who followed up with their respective districts. We're on a good pace, and we should hit that 80% within the month. I will be giving an update at the August delegate meeting and then at the August open session meeting. Members have communicated through message to management regarding the electrical boxes throughout the community. Automatically, the default is, well, it's an association, it's within the association needs to maintain it. But in fact, the utility boxes there, from maintenance issues to paint, is actually the responsibility of the city of Banning. We've reached out to them several times to address this. I know one on Country Club took about a year to finally get painted. Now, I do want to point out that Mark has been trying to Mark Schleiden, our operations department, is trying to proactively work around this. Of course, you would think, well, just do it yourself association. That kind of gets into some problems legally with suddenly removing boxes, and then I have homeowners say, I've lost my landline. What did you do? So we actually will still continue, but Jay, can you just go forward on 2 slides? One more. So this is there's been a bad one on Highland Springs, one that constantly gets hit. 2 days ago, members reported that there was a gentleman there, not dressed in a top hat and a suit, but was removing wires, probably to sell whatever. So again, Mark Schleiden and his team proactively going out there and constructed a box around it, because the city, this has been on their radar for 2 years to address. Well, what we could do is box it up to prevent further vandalizing, further issues. So this is one of the proactive ways we're trying to, but I did want to let those members know, because on this last round of message to management, there were a ton, and a very similar of, I live on this street, it hasn't been painted. Sun Lakes Boulevard, or Highland Springs Boulevard, it's horrible. So we are trying to work proactively where we can, do something to improve the appearance, but we'll continue to attempt to work with our city brothers. And I know the board president will be reaching out to try to set up a meeting with the City of Banning city manager. Next, as Jason said, from the executive session action, the service charge will return. That was approved in the executive session the mid-month, and it will return August 1st. So you will see on your bills from the restaurant that the service charge is back. It will be at 18%, and it will be applying to all food and beverage operations, restaurant, lounge, sandwich, and banquets. Now, for those that just want to go and look at the next page, Jay, what the SB 1524, which is the language there in small print, basically the governor signed this very quickly. Very glad that we had some rationalization, not rationalization, but realization that restaurants and other businesses were being impacted by this junk fee amendment. So SB 1524 amended the junk fees SB 478, which does allow, did exempt, and one of the things this bill was specifically above provision, does not apply to a mandatory fee or charge for individual food, beverage items sold directly to a customer by a restaurant, bar, food concession, grocery store, or grocery delivery service. Now, what basically says is, hey, we're reversing the junk fees issue, exempting restaurants, but restaurants like ours have to put up little flyers that says there's a mandatory service charge of 18%, and we will be putting that throughout the restaurant so that we comply with this amendment. So that is happening August 1st. Next slide, Jay. Next, right there. So now I'm going to give you some updates on the lounge update and then some miscellaneous updates. First, the lounge, give you some pictures. This is what, next slide, Jay. So this is what it looked like last month when I reported, some pictures from that. Let's move forward now. So now you see some progress. They are moving ahead. They put the drywall up. You can actually see the ceiling. Go to the backspace. No backspace. Oh, you can end my presentation. There you go. One back, one more. So you see how there was open, exposed a railing at the top, and now go forward. That has been covered, and they will be moving forward with the flooring, the painting, etc. One more slide is taking a look from the perspective of the restaurant to the far left. This is now, if you were coming in the door from the restaurant side, what it would look like, and we'll give you updates. The middle one is the new door that has been installed, leading from the lounge out to the walkway to go to the veranda. And then the one on the far right is what it looks like from the outside. So the report that I have from American Eagle, who is the contractor on this, and Mark Schleiden, the project is currently on schedule. Painting is on schedule. Light welding for bar racks is remaining to be done. Grinding of floors for tile installation is in progress. Doors, the finalization for doors are 4 weeks out. Millwork is due for completion Wednesday and for all trim and cabinets. Countertops are currently being fabricated. Electrical installation is ready to start next week. At this time, there are no current issues that impact the project. Let's see. So again, the summary that was received from American Eagle, the project is on schedule, no current issues. And again, they're examining the area for drywall mentioned, where we saw on that previous picture the drywall right there. And they did do a walkthrough with the board today at 11:30. And lastly, a miscellaneous update. There was a question and floating around the socials of that the board is not allowed to rent facilities, that it's a private community. Just to let you know, we went back to legal counsel, as I had done, I think back, time has a rhyme, about 8 years ago. This has come back again that there was concerns that the board was not authorized to rent facilities out, rent the clubhouse out to, like we've done with the city of Banning, et cetera. And legal has confirmed in an opinion, and it was provided to the board in executive session, that the board is allowed to do that. That is within their purview and authority. And so that, my understanding, the board will continue that practice of renting out facilities when available. And so I know that we'll be given an update at the next district delegates meeting. And with that, that completes my board, report, Mr. President. I apologize for my tardiness.
Thank you. Substation report. Any subs here? Thank you. Double duty here.
I'll test the mic. Hello? Hello? All right. Just one little comment. We did have a pre-4th of July party at the villas. Not as fully attended as we thought we would be, but we had a great time, and we celebrated the 4th in the proper motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Assembly? On deck is pass action.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cal Martin, and I am here from the Delegate Assembly to enlighten you on some things that we have been doing there. I'm going to start with saying that one of the things that we've done, and we addressed it at the last meeting, was trying to recognize that there is a rather serious divide in the membership of the Delegate Assembly, and we're trying to put together some sort of action plan to help heal that divide, because you know, when you get to the 10,000-foot level, we're just a bunch of old people living in an HOA. There's no nuclear codes being exchanged. Nobody's going to die in the process unless we kill one another, and I don't think that's a good outcome. So one of the things that was proposed is that we had a little mixer of all the delegates, because there are a number of new ones, and there are just people that don't know each other very well. And it's always more productive if you have people that are cordial with one another, and if you are friends, it's harder not to be cordial. So we're trying to set up a little mixer, and we asked the board, and made a request of the board to support that by basically providing hors d'oeuvres and some other light finger foods for this little mixer that will be coming up. No, if anybody wants, any of the delegates wants alcohol, they're going to have to go get that outside by themselves. And we hope that they approve that. I wanted to talk a little more about the divide, because it's not just the Delegate Assembly. Everybody's aware it's a divided world we live in. But Sun Lakes does not have to be divided. We're all after the same thing. Everybody that's sitting here wants a good place to live, and they want a better place, because they're here being involved in the administration and government of that. I was struck by a story of a gal named Jennifer Thompson, who at 22 was brutally raped. She stood in a courtroom, pointed to her rapist, and said, "That's the guy," and he was put away for a life sentence. And of course, 11 years later, she found out through DNA that he was innocent, and he was released. And instead of hearing what other people had to say, some of her friends and family saying you should be quiet about this, others saying you should be quiet because it's going to impugn the justice system, and the rage that the supposed perpetrator, the innocent man, could have had against her was also palpable. But she did the unusual thing by not listening to anybody and not hiding, and struck out to find this man and apologize and make a friendship and forgiveness. And they have been great advocates for victims ever since. It's a national thing. I think that we could learn from this. We could very much learn from this, because we're not going to come together because we're standing around holding drinks and eating peanuts. That won't happen. It won't even happen with nice stories being told and laughs. It really happens when people say, it's an intellectual exercise that we're out here in the HOA. We can always disagree, but there's no need to be disagreeable. And we have to lay down any kind of hurts from the past, lay down the perceived injustices, and lay down real injustices if there were, because living in the past does not help us go forward, and that's why we're here, is to go forward. And thank you for my time.
Mr. President, can I just, before we get an update from Harry here, reopen the section of the GM report just for one item?
Yes.
I do apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I announced at the delegates meeting, I believe the Brian Garlington will be leaving us as the golf pro. I do apologize, it was on my list here. And that's what I was talking about with one member of, what are you doing? You should have a person already ready. So I do want to say for the audience, we are going to miss Brian. I really appreciate all the efforts that he has done to turn around the communication from the pro shop, the golf pro. He's actually, and his merchandising, he's really turned that around, but I wish him the best of luck on his new venture. So that the community knows, Brian did give a month's notice that he was going to be leaving, which is very gracious. But it does take time to find the candidates and go out and recruit them, do interviews, run through the backgrounds and everything. So it's not something that, to one member's belief, is that there should just be somebody just waiting there to come and immediately start the next day Brian leaves. Unfortunately, in this world, this reality, that doesn't happen. But I do want to let the community know we are recruiting actively. We have already set up interviews and have already had interviews with candidates to replace Brian. And so I just wanted to give the community and the board an update on that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Past action report, Harry?
Yes. Congratulations for Brian. That's a big step forward. It's going to be a GM. My name is Harry Finnegan. I'm on the Past Action Group board. July 9th was a real good city council meeting for the Past Action Group and all the residents of Sun Lakes. There's a detailed article coming out this weekend in the Lifestyle magazine that was written by Randy, and it covers everything that went on in that meeting. But it was a good meeting. The city council voted 3-2 to try and stop the project, but the city attorney said that we had to go through a process. So there's being a resolution drawn up by the city attorney and staff, and it's going to be coming back to the city council. We hope it's going to be August 27th, but we never know for sure. But if you look at the Lifestyle magazine, there's a good article in there. In regard to money, Jeannie Lloyd, our board treasurer, we're trying not to have big fundraisers, but this could be over hopefully in August. That would be great. But we do need enough money to get through August. Jeannie asked for another $10,000. We already have over $5 million, but we still need about $5,000 more to make sure we're in good shape for our legal expenses. And Jeannie's address is 4832 Crenshaw Circle. And she has a mailbox there, and you can just drop the money off there. But please read the article in Lifestyle magazine. Randy did a very good job on that. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank the Past Action Group. Next is the Bingo Advisory Committee. Common Area Committee.
Just a few notes on the common area. The facilities are looking great. In case you people didn't know, the pool over at the indoor pool at the South Clubhouse is being completely redone. It is making great progress. It looks fabulous. They should be opening shortly. I'm not going to give you any specific dates, but it should be shortly. The North Clubhouse had some remodeling going on. That is making great progress also. It's kind of shaky for the assistant pro to be sitting outside while they're doing construction, but it worked. It's a little warm for that person, but they survived. They were right by the ice machine, so I think they had plenty of cold water. The last thing I wanted to mention was we all know it's very, very hot, so take care of yourself and make sure that your shrubs and trees and bushes and everything else is getting a lot of water, and the artistic maintenance is working very hard to maintain all of that during this heat, and I hope that you all appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. EPAP Committee.
Good afternoon, board members, FSR, and fellow residents. The American Red Cross will be here on Saturday, July 27th, to install smoke detectors in the homes of residents that signed up when they were here a couple months ago. We will have Mario from Simpler Life come in August 26th in the Sand Wedge from 9:30 to 11:30. He will talk about survival supplies that you will need to sustain yourselves for 7 to 14 days, especially water purification options. Then on September 12th, the Emergency Management Department of Riverside will give their 12 steps to preparedness presentation. We are working on this year's disaster drill. We have decided to do a shelter in place. We have had 2 situations where persons being pursued by police have come over a fence or through an open gate. One of the situations had a helicopter following the suspect and telling the residents to stay inside. The other was apprehended just inside the gate. We want our residents to know what to do in this kind of a situation. We will notify the EPAP coordinators when the training sessions are scheduled. They will be posted on Good Day Sun Lakes Channel 97 and Sun Lakes EPAP Facebook page. The CERT class is scheduled for November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We will notify you when you can begin to register. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Advisory Committee?
Good afternoon, Master Board, management team, and fellow residents. My name is Mary Jo McElwain, and I'm the chairman of the Finance Advisory Committee. In the coming months is budget review time. Our newly formed budget committee will approach the budget review with multiple schedules of fixed cost, historical revenue and expense data, analyzing trends and the cost of living increase. The most important consideration, of course, is the continued maintenance of our HOA property and all its amenities. With an annual budget of $15 million and the rising costs of everything from insurances to labor, it will be a real challenge for everyone involved. We're looking forward to supporting the board on reviewing the budget. As most of the residents know, the board has requested that committees submit revenue-generating and cost-cutting ideas for the new budget. Our committee response is being prepared and will be sent to the board in the next few days. Again, our goal is to assist the board efforts, and we remain committed to being the financial oversight for our association. We can do the homework, and the board, of course, will evaluate and make their decisions. We're a team that will devote our time and effort to assist the board and the management team. If you're interested in the finances of our community, join us at our next meeting on August 21st at 2 p.m. in the multipurpose room. Guests are allowed to ask questions at the end of the meeting. I apologize for not allowing it to happen last week, but thank you all for attending today.
Thank you. Golf Advisory, Mike?
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Callahan, Chairman of the Golf Advisory Committee. This month, the GAC submitted recommendations to the Master Board for golf course projects in 2025. These include completing renovation of the sand traps on the back 9 of the championship course and prioritizing a list of tee boxes most in need of resurfacing. Renovation of the sand traps will use the same liner system to control weed growth, improve drainage, and increase the life expectancy of the bunkers. Upon completion, this work will reduce maintenance, enhance the appearance of the grounds, while also improving playability for golfers. The established architectural plan for this project will maintain the same enhanced contemporary look and complete the work started 3 years ago. Like sand traps, irrigation systems, and lake liners, nothing lasts forever, including tee boxes. Following years of divot repair, top dressing, and overseeding tee boxes, they become crowned, reducing the useful tee area size and exaggerating the damage within a localized area. The tee boxes at Sun Lakes have provided many more years of play than experienced by most golf courses. In an effort to reduce the costs, the GAC has selected a limited number and prioritized the tees most in need of work. The timing of these recommendations will allow them to become part of the 2025 budget process. While this work does not directly impact the monthly HOA assessment, it is important for the Master Board to plan funding for repair and replacement projects as allocated in the reserve schedule. Because of the deferral of this work in 2024, the GAC recognizes that additional lead time may be needed to secure a contractor and navigate the approval process.
Thank you. Thank you. Lifestyles? Excuse me. Library. I'm not good with the alphabet here.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of things. An update on our library committee survey, which hopefully all of you have seen in this nice bright color. We've had some great response from our library community people. Right now I have about over 100 surveys that have been completed. We're going to continue with the survey through probably next Friday and then tabulate it over the weekend to have it in the the results in the Lifestyle magazine by the 5th, and then also for our library committee on the 6th. So it's been very successful, and this will give us an idea of more relevant, better books, I don't know, whatever to order for the next year. One more thing, I mentioned a few meetings back about that the library committee will now, if a resident cannot donate their books, will go to their property. So about a month ago, I was contacted by a family of one of the men who was living here as a 102-year-old World War II veteran who was also a retired college professor. He had probably more books in his house than we have in our library. But fortunately, we got a few people together and we boxed all the books up and got them out of their home. Some of them have been donated to our libraries, and we're in the process of taking the rest of them to the existing libraries throughout the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Lifestyles?
Hi, I'm Linda Vieira from the Lifestyles Committee, and I had a page to read to you that was big enough for me to read with my bad eyes, but a huge gust of hot air blew it right out of my golf cart. So please forgive me if I read it to you from my cell phone. This actually is one of the prettiest pictures I've seen for a while with so many different colors. This is the Lifestyles magazine, the resource most residents turn to use to find out what's going on in our community. At 80 pages, it includes pictures from residents plus articles from the Master Board, Delegate Assembly, First Service, the restaurant, the Golf Pro, and all the advisory committees. Clubs and groups send articles and photos about their activities to sunlakesnews@yahoo.com by the 6th of the month. The Lifestyles Advisory Committee meets on the 7th of each month, unless otherwise specified, to review and edit the articles submitted for each month's issue of the magazine. We meet with Master Board Liaison Beverly Simmons, Assistant General Manager Jason Ewalls, and Recreation Manager Linda Vang to keep updated about events coming up in our community. We also publish want ads and for sale items from residents at no cost and hide a monthly joke for residents to find. Responses to our Get the Joke contest are put in a hat and a winner is randomly drawn, earning a restaurant gift card as a prize. Photographs taken by residents of areas within Sun Lakes are used on the magazine cover. We also post pictures of residents on their vacations or of their beloved pets. If you're good at proofreading and are interested in joining us, please fill out a volunteer application form that you can get in the lobby and we'll put you on our waiting list. And I believe I mentioned last time that everyone should know that our publisher stands behind every ad that is put in this magazine. And if any resident uses one of those vendors and has a very negative outcome, please contact us at Sun Lakes News @yahoo.com, and she will take care of it, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marketing Advisory Committee?
Good afternoon, Master Board, residents, FSR. Michelle Walter, Chair of the Marketing Advisory Committee. We have our welcome home tomorrow at 5 o'clock here in the ballroom. We have 69 new residents that are attending. I'm so excited. We have 10 clubs and groups, and I just got one more, so I think we're going to have 11 clubs and groups that is going to attend as well. The marketing committee has created that viewpoint, and I think you've seen the little where you can scan it. Please, we encourage everybody to complete this survey so we can get your input to make positive changes in our community. The surveys will change from month to month, and based on our residents' need. They'll tell us, we'd like to have this, or somebody wants something done for the new lounge. So those are the type of things that we want to get your opinion on. The following are the stats on the home sales in Sun Lakes from July 1st through July 24th. Active or coming soon are 39. One condo, prices from $305. 38 homes, prices from $349 to $580. In escrow are 19. 6 condos, prices from $295 to $498. 13 homes, prices from $249 to $569. Closed escrows, 1 condo, $309 to $900. 9 homes, prices from $350 to $565. So I get to say it this time. We had 10 that closed, so that's $2,190. That's $21,900 that goes directly into our replenishment fund. So again, thank you for supporting that. Our new homeowner survey cards, out of 65, 35% of them came in for golf. 72% said a restaurant on site was important to them, and 40% of those 65 are still working. So we have to figure out how we can market to those people to come in and start using our lounge and restaurant. Just to let you know, the marketing committee, along with the restaurant and lounge, will be having a meeting on the grand opening of the new lounge. We have some wonderful ideas to get residents in to enjoy the newly expanded lounge. Hopefully we can work with Chef Chris on some great specials for this exciting week-long event. Our next meeting is August 13th at 1 o'clock in admin if you'd like to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Master Architectural?
Good afternoon, board and residents and owners. I'm Roy Nierman. I'm the chairman of the Master Architectural Committee. I'd like to let you know that we are averaging between 120 and 140 applications a month for improvements to homes. That's great. That's people that are really caring. However, we need your help because we don't like denying applications. And when we receive applications that are incomplete, we don't know what you're trying to do, and we end up denying them. Last Tuesday, we denied 8 applications because they were incomplete. For example, you may say, I want to paint my house the color it is now. The color it is now, 20 years after you originally painted, is not the same color it was when you painted it. So we don't know what it is. We have a color chart. Your color has to come from that color chart. So far this year, we've denied over 40 applications because they're selecting colors from other than the color chart. We are not approving fluorescent yellow or royal blue. Or you may say, I want to install a security camera. Well, that's great. We need to know where you want to install it. We need to make sure it's not going to invade on a neighbor's privacy. Or you may say, I want to redo my front yard. We need to know what you're going to do, whether it's going to meet our 30/70 softscape, hardscape, whether it's going to have a tree, whether it's going to be bushes, whether it's going to be turf, whether it's going to be rock. We can't approve an application just says, I want to redo my front yard. Same thing with lights. I want to put up new lights. What kind of lights? Are they going to be under 550 lumens? This is how you can help us. Before you fill out the application as to what you want to do, read what's required of the improvement you're going to make. If you need help, call Edgar at Planning and Compliance. He will sit down with you. He will tell you what is allowable, what isn't. You can even call me. I get a lot of phone calls. Paint, you have to use a paint from our palette. We've got over 140 colors on that palette. If you don't know what to paint, drive around the community. You look at a house, you say, gee, I like the way that looks. Call Edgar and say, what paint colors are those? I want them. He will tell you. We don't like to deny applications, so please help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roy. Procurement Advisory Committee?
Good afternoon, members of the board and FSR and fellow members of Sun Lakes. My name is Bob Hicks, and I am part of the Procurement Advisory Committee. The PAC meeting originally scheduled for June 17th this month was canceled by mutual consent of the liaison, the general manager, and myself, because we really had nothing new specifically to work on. But that does not mean there isn't a tremendous amount that's queued up. It just didn't make sense to talk about what might happen until we knew it was going to happen. So the only thing I really have to report on is that you may recall the board previously authorized the Procurement Advisory Committee to create a technology assessment initiative work group to spearhead the development of a Sun Lakes technology development plan. And so the TAI work group consists of Larry Davis, Lee Stone, Cal Martin, and Ken Johnson. They prepared a project plan which was submitted to the board for review and approval during today's executive session. Assuming the board approved it, will simply provide authorization for the work group to engage FSR, GM, and staff to start digging in to prepare an inventory of what we have, who has it, and what do they use it for. And so in a more specific, so what they also did was took the initiative to come up with an automated means for all the staff to simply go to their system, click on a link, and then fill it out online. So it avoids unnecessary use of the staff's time. And so the second part, though, will be considerably more time consuming, requiring probably Jason, Tammy, and Chris's time to help dig into more detail about what these systems are actually used for, which systems communicate with which ones, and where the technology resides. So we're anticipating a very busy second half of the year. We meet once again on the third Monday of each month at 9 a.m. in the executive conference room. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation?
Mr. President, I have a report just quickly, just going over a couple events coming up. Remember this Saturday coming up, July 27th, Music Under the Stars out on the veranda. It'll be a warm one, but I know you guys will all have fun out there. Just remember, if you are bringing your own alcohol, you must stay off of the veranda. The grassy knolls are fine, but you cannot cross that cart path, or the sidewalk right there. Evening on the veranda is still going on, first Wednesday of the month. The next one will be August 7th, and Renee will be there. She'll be doing this through probably October. Ice Cream Socials coming up. Next one is August 12th, second Monday of the month, 2 to 3 p.m., $3. That's not for me. You have to reset
your time is up.
I got 10 more seconds. $3, you guys. We will move it inside if it is too hot. Otherwise, we will have it on the veranda. Last two things, Comedy Night with Randy Riggles, nostalgia show. It's been about 9 years since he's been here, so looking forward to having him back. It'll be August 2nd. There's still tickets available, $15 a person. Show starts at 7, doors open up at 6. And finally, check out the flyer racks for all the trips and excursions coming up. And that's it.
Thank you. RV storage?
Good afternoon, board members, management team, and residents. My name is Jim Ball. I'm the secretary of the RV storage lot. The continuing issue for the RV storage lot is security, as you may all have heard about several break-ins lately. The committee is very appreciative of the actions the board has already taken to improve security, and we look forward to any additional actions the board may deem appropriate. During our last meeting, the discussion centered around additional fencing, establishment of Wi-Fi, and additional signage. Additional signage, I don't know if thieves know how to read or care. In regards to the fencing, the committee recommends that any additional or modified fencing include an outward-facing curved top to discourage any climbing. The lot committee realizes that before any additional actions take place, we need to monitor how well the current actions work. We also understand that the board is continuing to explore other options, and the lot committee strongly feels that establishing Wi-Fi will benefit the storage lot as well as Sun Lakes as a whole. The committee will send additional suggestions and recommendations to the board as they are discovered. Another item of our discussion in our last meeting concerned the security guards and their routine of patrolling the lot. This resulted in the following questions. How many times do the guards patrol the lot at night? And does that number need to be increased? Second question, do the security guards have a powerful spotlight to shine around the rigs when they slowly patrol? Those two items I looked at myself and I didn't see any spotlights on security vehicles. They shouldn't have to get out of their vehicle at night. I wouldn't want to. The status of our RV lot is 100% full with a growing waiting list. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Restaurant and lounge? Marcia?
Good afternoon, everyone. The lounge expansion project is moving right along as reported earlier, and I think we all look forward to the opening of what will be a beautiful and expanded venue to enjoy with friends and family. So looking forward to that. This Sunday, July 28th, come and enjoy the monthly brunch presented to you by the Great Food and Beverage team. There'll be information out shortly on the website about that. Wednesday, July 31st, is National Avocado Day. So come and see what specials Chef Chris and the team have created for you. Friday, August 2nd, is International Beer Day. Sunday, August 4th, is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Special desserts with chocolate chip cookies will be available. Sunday, August 4th, nope, I already said that one. Thursday, August 15th, is National Lemon Meringue Pie Day. All you lemon meringue pie lovers, this is the day for you to come and enjoy your favorite dessert. Friday, August 16th, National Rum Day, my favorite. There will be rum drink specials, including the favorite adult version of our root beer float. And then Friday and Saturday, August 30th and 31st, will honor the biggest super moon and blue moon with specials of Blue Moon beer. Wednesday, happy hour from 3:30 to 6 continues to be the place to be each Wednesday. And I think today, if anybody's trying to get there outside, I think it's all over in the sandwich. It's a little warm to be outside today. So did you know that you can find all this information on the website? Jason's going to help me out here. There is a little tab there called My Club. If you click on that, then you go to calendar, and then everything is on there. So Jason, if you click on the one for the International Beer Day, the 2nd of August. there's a spot for the, oh, I'm sorry, you're in July. So there's a spot there for August. If you click on that, a flyer, if there's one that's going to be there, will be there, and that's what's going on for National Beer Day or International Beer Day. So anything that you need to know about any activity going on in Sun Lakes is on the calendar, and this is a great place to go and find it. So great resource, again, My Club, and then the calendar. Pretty simple. So we hope to see many of you at the brunch this Sunday. Please make reservations by calling the restaurant at 769-6654. But most importantly, in these warm days, stay cool and stay hydrated. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt, but don't forget tomorrow is National Chili Dog Day. Jason, if you click on the calendar, you can show these wonderful Sun Lakers.
Safety Advisory Committee.
Good afternoon, board, management, and residents of Sun Lakes. My name is Michael Voles. I'm chairman of the Safety Advisory Committee. There has been a significant rise in requests to check on the welfare of residents in the last several months. Our security team, Securitas, has been diligently responding to calls from concerned family members, neighbors, or guests worried about loved ones who may not be able to care for themselves. There was one incident recently where the resident unfortunately passed away despite life-saving efforts by Securitas team members. Also, there have been instances where adult protective services needed to step in to provide essential and when deemed necessary. Critical emergency knowledge and training are what our security team can offer to Sun Lake site officers to use when necessary for our residents. In the last month, most of the Sun Lakes facilities and administration building were re-keyed as a security precaution. Securitas patrol officers are continuing regular foot and vehicle rounds in the maintenance yard and other facilities, reinforcing their presence and deterring potential security breaches. The RV lot is still monitored on site from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. by security. Extensive renovations are scheduled for the RV lot in coming months, and the Master Board has approved the installation of state-of-the-art cameras along the eastern wall. This upgrade will significantly enhance surveillance capabilities, providing comprehensive coverage of the area and bolstering overall security measures. Incident reports from Securitas recently indicated that general tasks were the majority of responses from patrol. These calls typically include routine checks and minor assistance provided to residents and guests. Parking violations were the second most frequent reports, with 23 incidents indicating ongoing issues with unauthorized parking and non-adherence to community parking guidelines. Suspicious activity was reported 11 times, with no serious issues identified. Water leaks were reported 13 times, suggesting a need for improved infrastructure maintenance. Please remember to drive safely and obey speed limits and stop signs. Keep your garage doors closed, and if you see something, say something. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. I can have First Service read the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda for this afternoon are two items. One is the approval of the open session meeting minutes for June 26, 2024, and also a resolution to record lien. These are for delinquent accounts, and those accounts on the resolution that are listed are the following accounts: 1344-01, 2192-01, 2981-03, and 3163-01. Those items are on the agenda, consent agenda, for the board to approve.
Thank you. Any board member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? If not, I need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as stands.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next is a board report, financial report for June. Our treasurer will be making that report to us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Gary Burkle. I'm your Sun Lakes treasurer. As far as I'm concerned, it should be National Beer Day every day until this heat lets up. So tell me when that's going to end. But anyway, Jason, do you have my report? Anyway, I'm just going to follow up on what Michelle talked about, and I'm sure you all have heard about our repair and replenishment fund. But, you know, because I'm treasurer and money's important to me, and I think this is a great accomplishment for the community. In the first 6 months of this year, there was 91 homes purchased, and I think that's going to increase when we get these interest rates lowered. But even at that pace, that's going to bring us about $400,000 a year into the repair and replacement fund. So I think, you know, thank you all. That's all I got to say. In terms of other things, well, I just talked about the repair and replacement fund. You know, the lounge expansion is moving along. You know, we're about halfway through, I think, in terms of dollars, but it looks like it's definitely moving along and at least halfway. Management, our design consultant, Mark Schleiden, they're all doing a great job making sure this all stays on track. And others in the community, the marketing committee, others are all contributing to make this happen. And we're all looking forward to opening the new lounge and hopefully generating additional income. I wanted to say a word about the governance training. The board just went through 2 days last week of governance training. The idea here is for the board to look at goals and let management deal with the administration and the execution. And because I was always hoping this wouldn't be such a big job, I'm hoping this governance process will help us, you know, cut back on the time that the board has to spend on managing. You know, and I'm just threw up here the North Clubhouse Pool and the South Clubhouse Pool because those are major projects, major amenities, and you know, it's nice to see them improved, and I'm sure we'll all enjoy them. You know, the other thing from an income standpoint, the board is looking at renting vacant homes in the community. This really, for me, serves two purposes. One is to bring in additional income, and second of all, just getting these houses cleaned up so they look nicer for the community. So, in terms of financial highlights, in June, the income for June was income over expenses of $94,671. At June 30th, the cash in the operating fund was $556,674. At June 30th, our outstanding bills were $1,398,457. As I've said in the past, we do have to look at ways to increase the cash in our operating fund. And in fact, our budget for 2024 does have some money in it to increase the cash. But we have to continue to look at this as we're working on the budget for 2025. Our cash and receivables, I'll just go to another slide here. This is a comparison of the cash and receivables that we have compared to our outstanding bills. And as you can see, and as I've said, but if you didn't take notes and remember, what I've said in the past is our cash flow, cash coming in, is better in the first part of the year. So as you can see here, at the end of April, our cash and receivables exceeded outstanding bills by, testing my eyes here, 299,583, I think that says. As you see, as we go through the months, May and June, the cash goes up, but so does the bills. And basically, what this is a look at our balance sheet, to use a accounting term. And it calculates the numbers there at the bottom is our current ratio. And you see at the, it's just a ratio of how much our cash and receivables exceed our outstanding bills. So at the end of April, we were at 1.5, and we continue to go down. And that's of obviously concern to me. So, and I also have a comparison here to just show that our actual income, overall income, the HOA's income, if you compare June of 2022, it was 260,000. At June of 2023, it was 298,000. And at June of 2024, it's 112,000. So, and you can see that at June 30th, 2022, we were 345,000 ahead of budget. At June 30th, 2023, we were 370,000 ahead of budget. And at June 30th, 2024, we're only 91,000 ahead of budget. So we have to continue to look at ways to increase our income. And that's what the budget, one of the goals of our budget process. As far as the repair and replacement fund, you can see there, that's another area where your dues each month go. In each month in 2024, we're putting 220,000 every month into the repair and replacement fund. So far, we put in 1.3 million. You can see the income there, but the income's on a cash basis. So that's just a cash received. In terms of, what we really earn, that's actually a different number. And we are earning about 4.5% on our invested money, which is about $13 million on average every month. Those are the expenditures there so far this year. So year to date through June, end of June, our expenditures were $1,650,000, and but in fact we're below budget because our annual expenditures, based on at least the reserve study, which is somewhat theoretical, our expenditures are scheduled to be $3,832,000 for the year. The cash in the reserve fund at the end of June was $12,172,000, and out of the reserve fund we've budgeted for 2024 $220,971 to go towards the lounge expansion. I think so far, if I haven't said it, through June we've spent $476,000 towards approximately $850,000 budget for the lounge expansion. And that's just, most of that money here out of the capital fund, the $575,000, most of that is for the lounge expansion. And that's my treasurer's report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, could I request the floor to ask a couple clarification questions from the treasurer?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm requesting permission to speak to the floor. Gary, relative to operating cash, obviously it is deteriorating. It's normally better at the beginning of the year because we get upfront payments for a number of different sources, correct? In May of last year, just to keep it simple, our operating cash was $240,000 less than the bills. In May of 2024, our operating cash was $861,000 less than bills. These are the actual cash numbers, not when you add in the receivables for money that you have coming in, but this is just the raw number of what's in the account. That's a drop of about $618,000 in our cash position to pay our monthly bills from last year. In June, our operating cash is still $840,000 less than our bills. I think that's really concerning, and you've brought that to our attention over the last couple months. You know, our new Sun Lakes governing policy, which we're all excited, we had 2 days of training on that. It was a great team-building experience and addresses many of the things that we feel that are important in the community. But that policy states in section 3.3 that it prohibits the general manager from allowing cash to fall below a level necessary to meet operating expenses for a 30-day period. And our expenses in May of this year was $1,423,162. I'd like to introduce a motion regarding operating cash as follows.
We can't introduce a motion at this time. I think if you have comments, you can keep them for the director's comment at the end, because the presentation of the treasurer's report is not open for debate or discussion. He's just presenting it. So thank you.
Well, I believe a chair is
thank you
to be
very much.
recognized
Thank you very
for
much.
David Sterling
Thank
in
you
open
very much.
session.
We're going to move on from this point.
Very good.
I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll move to receive and file the treasurer's report.
Actually, the motion is to receive and file
The
the
financial
June
statement.
financial
Yes,
statements.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have someone opposed?
Passes 4-1. Next is the GAC T-box resurface. The GAC has submitted a recommendation to the board for resurfacing a number of the T-boxes, as Mike indicated earlier. On the championship course, these T-boxes have become crowned due to years of divot repair, top dressing, and overseeding. The GAC is recommending this for holes 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 13, and 17. The committee is recommending this at that time so it can be included in the 2025 budget process. Please see the letter of attachment. I need a motion in reference to that.
I move we approve staff look into the costing of that so it can be addressed at the budget time.
I'll second that. Any comments from the board or from membership?
I do have a comment. I'm looking at the letter that was sent to us by GAC. And when they talk about the tee boxes, for those of you who don't golf, there's several tee boxes in a complex. Some of these, for example, the hole number 17, they're recommending the whole tee complex. So that's including the blacks and the blues. No, not the blacks. Yeah, 5 people play from the blacks and there are pros, so there you go. The blues, the whites, the reds, and the golds. So 17, they're suggesting they do all of those. But hole number 6, they're only recommending we do the red tees, which is the women's tee. And that tee box is about that big. So as we move forward, this is going to be some of them, 17, 13, and 8 are complete tee complexes. 6 is the red tee, 5 is the white tee, 10 and 9 are the white tees. So just for a little clarification.
I have a first and a second. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next, management received another recommendation from GAC. They'd like to recommend that the board address the championship course back 9 fairway bunkers. The front 9 were done in 2023, and the only ones left in the championship course are the fairway bunkers on the back 9. This would include a new liner and new sand. This would allow the bunkers to drain correctly and require less maintenance in the long run. It would also allow for quicker playability after receiving rain. They recommended this now so it could be included in the 2025 budget. Need a recommendation in reference to that?
I'll make the same motion that we direct staff to look into this for budget purposes.
Any comments from the board or from membership? I think it's important that they look at this for the budget perspective coming up on the committee and the people that are working on the budget for 2025. But I did want to point out that it's a big ticket item, and it's going to have to be reviewed by the Finance Advisory Committee and the other people helping us coming up with an appropriate budget. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Next is Library Advisory Committee request. Management received a letter from the chair of the Library Committee to recommend increasing their number to 8 instead of 7. If the board approves the increased number of members, the charter would have to be amended, only allow 7 at the present time. I need a motion in reference to that.
I move we approve this request.
I'll second that. Any comments from the board or from membership?
I'm reading, excuse me, I'm reading the information that they've sent in, and I know that you have someone that you'd like to add to the committee. And I guess I'm just curious as to what more is needed in the committee. Is there something specific that another person is going to be able to help with? Do you need more help with shelving books and doing that sort of thing? I guess I'm just...
Well, I think being a liaison there, I think that's a reason for the addition, is that they have another highly qualified candidate, and it's hard to get volunteers.
That's true.
So they wanted to expand the number so they could include this new person. I think it's a very, very valid and helpful thing to do.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Next, the Library Advisory Committee received a letter from we received a Library Committee letter from the chair indicating they would like to have Marcia Manley appointed to the committee, term ending 12/31/25. Need a motion in reference to that.
I'll move to approve Marcia Manley being appointed to the Library Committee.
I'll second that. Any comments from board or membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next is Women for Hope. Management received an email from Kay Rawls asking the board approval to conduct their annual Women for Hope charity and golf tournament and their luncheon at Sun Lakes. As in years past, they would like to hold this on a Monday. The date would be September 23rd. If the restaurant is not available, I'd like to have a buffet on the veranda. Hopefully it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
This would require opening food and beverage on a Monday, since the operation is normally closed on Mondays. They would also like to request the use of the executive golf course for this event, as they have done every year. Need a motion on that?
Question, is there a reason why we couldn't reschedule it on a date when food and beverage is normally here?
Let me make a motion first so we can have discussion.
Perfect.
I move to approve the 20th Annual Women for Hope Tournament to be held on the executive course.
I'll second that.
With lunch on the veranda or in the restaurant, whichever is available.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yep. The only discussion, sorry to speak out of turn, but the only question I would have is there a way of scheduling this so we don't have to bring in people that aren't normally scheduled on that day?
I believe that they've been set on the schedule for that particular date, and it would be difficult to rearrange everything. They've always had it on a Monday, and I would like to honor their request if at all possible.
To follow up on Don's question is, would we be able to do our best to have not have to use restaurant overtime? If anybody has any thoughts on that.
I don't have any additional thoughts, but being fairly new to the board and having new residents, can somebody give me a little bit of kind of a history of this tournament?
Yes,
if somebody
anyone would
can?
like to be a spokesperson for Women for Hope?
Looks like it's you, Bob.
Marcia Midget's coming forward to talk about it.
I know they've been doing it for many, many years, and it's a great, great cause.
Diligence, showing that.
I'll do my best on what this is. So this is a tournament that is a money-making tournament for the charities for Women for Hope. It has been held on a Monday, I think. Well, I know for as long as I've been here, and probably much longer than that. Never has been an issue with having it on a Monday. The association and the board has always been very open to have the meal in the restaurant afterwards, because it's a Monday when it's never been open. So we were able to keep it there and make it happen. I appreciate your questions, but it's something that I know is already out there. The dates are already out there. For this year, I don't think you would be able to change it. So I think, going forward, if you want to talk to K-Rawl and the crew that are doing that to maybe change it to a different date, that would be fine. But for this particular year, it would be difficult to change it.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions before we vote?
It's been just for the two newer folks. It's been approved year after year after year after year for a Monday.
Sure.
So, if you want to make a different date of the week, but not this year.
Okay. I understand if the timing is all set and all that, we can't do anything about it, we can't do anything about it, but I'll wait for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next, management received a request from the Delegate Assembly. Vice Chair met with the delegates, and they would like the opportunity to get together socially and discuss items and issues that come up within their districts in a much less formal setting. The Assembly would like to have their first event in August and would like to conduct it in the main clubhouse library. They're requesting help from the board to sponsor the cost of appetizer-type foods and possibly cookies or brownies. Secondly, the Assembly is requesting approval from the board to purchase name tags for the delegates and their alternates. I need a motion in reference to those two requests.
I'll make a motion, I'm going to split these out. I'll make a motion on the second one that we approve the purchasing of name badges for the delegates and for the alternate delegates as well. So that's my first motion. If anybody wants to. You'll second that one? Okay.
Any comments in reference to that from the board or membership? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next is the second motion that you wanted to make.
Or you can make it.
I make a motion that we approve their request for a budget to have a social get-together for the District Delegate Assembly. I think it would be help in their team-building efforts. I think it's a great idea.
I second that.
Can I make a little verbiage change? They're not asking us to give them a budget, they're asking us to pay for the food for the mixer that they're gonna do in August. And instead of giving them a budget necessarily,
The motion is that they receive not a budget, that we pay for their events.
and it's just, you want appetizers and cookies. And then, if anybody wants something to drink, they'll access it from the lobby bar, which will be open. Is that correct? So how would you like to word it? Well, this would be.
We don't have a specific number in mind, or none was recommended, so why don't we start now with that we will pay for the future events this year of the District Delegate Assembly, and if they need a budget in the future, submit a request, and I'm certain that it would be favorably supported.
And this one we will support for August solely.
For the rest of this year.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
I think we confused that.
I asked for member comments, but you can make it now that we've already voted on it.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who has limited vision, and I would like to request that the name tags print the names very large?
I'm sorry, that was not in the motion. Yeah, I think we can handle that. Yes.
Could I just make a comment also? I'm kind of wondering, what do we need name tags for? We have our nameplates out in front. I don't walk around saying I'm an alternate delegate. Do you walk around saying I'm a master board president? I'm just saying I don't know that it's needed. And I'm hoping that when you voted on this for August, it's for August only, because I think somebody said for the rest of the year. Because I think that needs to really be discussed in a meeting to make sure. I mean, I'm not against, I'm an alternate delegate. Please, Cal, don't think that I'm trying to rock the boat. But I'm just saying that that's a lot of money. And if you do it for the delegates, or you're going to have to keep doing it over and over again, that's expense. Is that in our budget?
Thank you. One more comment on something we've already voted on?
I know we confused that. My understanding was we were going to do this for August only, but then it got changed. So we maybe need to rescind that so we can clarify. I don't know how that works.
Yes, you will have to rescind and, yeah. So
Wait, we
take-
have
take
another
back
comment
and,
from the chair.
after Cal's comment.
Please, if yeah, well, if at any future time we are going to do this again, we will make a request at that time. It should not be an open item. And if you would like to table the name tags until we've talked about it a little more in the assembly, that's fine too.
I don't think it needs to be tabled at this point in time. Yes.
According to Robert's rules, if a motion does not pass, it cannot be reconsidered. But if it does pass, it can be reopened and considered and voted upon again. Thank you.
Yes, that we're considering whether to reopen it or not. Okay, we will reopen the second one dealing with the time period. And the new motion will read that we're going to approve the expenses for the August only.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Yes, Bob Walter, seconded by Randy Robin. Robbins approved 5-0 to only pay for the August event for the delegate assembly. The name tags are still approved at this point in time, yes.
Next item is the comments from the homeowners. Make sure you keep your comments within 3 minutes, please. The first one is Michelle Walter.
Now you're in trouble.
I wasn't trying to be a troublemaker. Michelle Walter, Community Awareness. I just wanted to let everybody know that we have our next Community Awareness on August 6th in the ballroom here from 1 to 3. We have Supervisor Gutierrez coming in and doing a health and wellness expo. He's going to have people from all over Riverside County come in, and we even have EPAP going to be here, and we've got a couple of our other people that do projects here. They're going to be here also. So I encourage everybody to come and have a great turnout for him, because he's going out of his way to put this on for us. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments? We'll go with
Sorry. My name is Sue Savage, District 15. Good evening, afternoon, board, FSR persons. We talked about in the beginning that there's divisions in the community, which there are, and that one of the ways of looking at them was at 1,000 feet in the sky. I prefer to look at mine on the ground where there's oxygen and face-to-face with people. I have a couple of comments. I guess there's people, we all have differences. Personally, I like those differences. I like to talk to people who have different thoughts and different ideas than me, because sometimes that's how I learn and things get better. So I would like to say, regarding the rental of property that Sun Lakes owns, regarding the rental of this ballroom that Sun Lakes owns, regarding the idea that the attorney is correct, who, when we go back to, I took the board to court, the attorney wrote me a letter and said I would not win. So of course your attorney's not always right. In the end, it's not the attorney who says what's going on with Sun Lakes, it's the IRS. So I will be happy to forward to them your motions today that we think about being a rental facility, and that we rent out our ballroom, and that we rent out our properties. And we'll just let the IRS, who determines that we are a tax-exempt HOA, we'll let them discuss it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We don't currently rent out any properties. This is a proposal, and almost every HOA community rents or leases out space. An example is like Four Seasons across the way. They have businesses that come in there and do hair and do different things, and they make money off of these businesses by providing them a space to rent. But I appreciate your interest in trying to clarify, and we'll find out. I don't want IRS coming in here, but the main thing is what we're trying to do is maximize the revenue properly and legally. And so that's one of the reasons why we're asking for different ideas and suggestions from membership for us to review and consider. Thank you. Next is comments from the board. Gary?
My comment is that we've talked about the rules, the different rules that we have in our community, especially lately, been talking a lot about the rules at the pool. And again, as treasurer, I want everybody to understand that this is our community. When we bought a home here, we agreed to those rules. And I'm not talking to anybody in this crowd, but I'm maybe just preaching to whoever will listen to me. But when rules are broken, you can see what happens here. We hired, or we're talking about, but I believe we are going to add an additional employee to monitor the pool. That probably is going to cost us $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So we have residents that break the rules, and there's a direct connection between that and what additional cost to our community. So if you observe somebody breaking the rules, we're not expecting you to police the community, but call security, tell somebody. I know that's hard talking or reporting somebody in our community, but it just helps us all.
Thank you.
Well said.
Don?
Yes, good evening. I'd like to share my thoughts on the new governance policy that's recently been approved by the board. We had 2 days of training last week, and it provided quite a bit of clarity of what was included in that policy, 35 pages. I also thought it was a pretty good team-building exercise. The system is based on a high-level, what is called a proscribed policy, supported by the implementation of detailed prescriptive policies or procedures. Proscribed means what is not allowed. I consider the management by governments to be a system that provides for authority being delegated down from the top, starting with authority being granted by residents to the board, and from the board to the management company. And then on the flip side, the authority is granted to the board. The accountability flows back up from management to the board and ultimately to you, the residents. And that's my understanding after reading and listening to 2 days of discussion, which was quite good. That's what I think the governance policy is going to do for us. It may not make immediate changes, but I think if we start utilizing a top-down approach, we'll all be in better shape. But I think it's also extremely critical that we implement the prescribed policies that we have very few of. That is, consider something like committee charters. Many of those are written in a prescribed manner to indicate what you can or should be doing. But the overall high level, what is not allowed is also equally important, and that allows organizations, committees, management to use some expertise in making things work. So I think the policies are good. We need both of them, and we need quite a few more prescribed policies. And I can't stress enough how important this system is and how much it really requires you to start participating. If you don't attend board meetings, use the other tools that are available to you to communicate to management, message to management, the meetings that the board has with you, meetings that management has with you, you're missing out on an opportunity to drive down that direction and what you really want to see in the community. So it's pretty important that you start participating. It's hard we have so many people, Michelle referenced the new people coming in that are working, that don't have a lot of hours to sit in meetings, but we need to find a way to start participating and sharing your thoughts and what you need done and what you'd like to see done. Otherwise, the board, the management company is going to be making decisions based upon what we understand the need is and what we should be doing. So I look forward to seeing more people in meetings and participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Beverly?
Well, it's going to be short and sweet. Speaking of meetings, we have been doing a coffee with the board on the second Monday of the month at 9 a.m. in the morning. We're discovering that that's maybe not the best time to do it because all of us here are morning people. Everybody, if you're going to golf, you're going to go out at 7:30 because it's really hot out there. All the things that we do in the mornings usually. So we have taken a look at that and we have made a decision to change the meeting time and frequency. Thank you, my translator over here. So instead of doing it monthly, we're going to start doing it quarterly. We are anticipating to keep it on the second Monday of the month in the afternoon. Right now, that's going to conflict with the ice cream social, and I'll bet you a whole lot more people are going to go to that than come listen to me talk. So we don't know exactly what the date is going to be, and it's not going to start until October. October will be the first meeting that we have, and the ice cream socials may be done by then. So stay tuned. We'll get you the information out, but we are going to make a change. So the next coffee with the board, which may be iced tea with the board, will be in October, hopefully still on the second Monday, and we'll let you know what time. So just wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy?
I just want to bring up the same thing, talking about Gary, talking about rules, is stop signs. We're still seeing everybody run stop signs. As a matter of fact, leaving my house to come here this afternoon, one of our contractors that we pay as an organization blew out a stop sign right in front of me. And I will be talking to Mr. Slyden about that. And so anyway, you've got to stop. It's a safety issue. It's not just rules, but it also does what Gary said. If we get more, we've had to add more stop signs because of this, so it costs the entire community, not just cost, somebody getting a ticket or whatever like would happen on the street. It's costing the entire community when people are doing this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, lastly, I'd like to report that I'm very pleased to report that our lounge expansion is on schedule and looking great. You're going to be very, very happy when it's finally finished in September or the beginning of October. The board has requested suggestions from the committees and district delegates about how to increase revenue and how to cut cost ideas. One of the golf clubs sent out a survey and claimed that it was a board survey. It was not a board survey. It did not come from the board. The board did not ask them to do any type of survey. So just be aware, they got overzealous and you wanted to get other opinions, but it was not a recommendation or anything from the master board. I also want to thank all of the district delegates and committee members for their constant dedication to our community, and especially our Pass Action Group. Pass Action Group, they've committed a lot of hard work, a lot of money. Their president here, Randy, has done a lot, as well as the people on the city council, to make sure that we successfully prevented this banning point from coming in, and that's a big, big deal. You should, if you're new, you may not realize it, but that's a big, big deal to our community, the impact upon our health, the congestion, the lifestyle, the noise, everything, and of course, the property values. So I want to thank Randy and the Pass Action Group. Thank you. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.